Now, meanwhile, the Democrats have a leadership crisis. Bernie Sanders and AOC are emerging as the leaders of the party. These two far-left socialists are holding events across the country, Ami, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has raised $9.6 million during the first quarter of the year. That is a significant amount. And Ami, she's been spoken about as the leader of the Democrats, not just by leftists like Don Lemon, but also Republicans. Let's hear from Senator John Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana.
What do you think of the new leadership, Jasmine, AOC, and Bernie?
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle.
That's a bit harsh. But she certainly is raising enormous sums of money, Ami, and seeming like the leader. You've got these two radicals who are setting the agenda for the Democrats.
Yeah, she's raised a ton of money, and alarmingly for the Democrats, 64% of that money is from first-time donors. So she's getting the base excited about her. She's not just raising money; she is essentially the leader. They're doing polling on this. We've talked about it. She's the leader in the polls. I mean, technically, right now, Kamala Harris is still the leader in the poll, but that's really more of an aftershock of the election because she led the party. But right after her is AOC, and by the way, number 2 behind her, number 3, Pete Buttigieg is way behind her. Gavin Newsom is in single digits. This should worry the Democrats if they want to win the next election, right? We just had an election. The country shifted rightward, and they are pulling against the tide. Look, we know that the Democrats have had this moment where they've got to figure out who are we, right? The election was such a shock to their system. They had to internally figure out who they are. Well, look, you can't say the Democrats are held hostage by the left. The Democrats are the left. These polling, and if she leads their party, it proves it, okay? That's the problem, is that they like her policies. They like what she stands for. And she's starting to do some interesting things. She's moving away from some social issues and into economic populism. And let's not forget, look, in 2020, Bernie Sanders, do we forget this? Bernie Sanders was leading this race by a lot. He won Iowa. He won New Hampshire. He won Nevada. The only reason why the tide turned toward Joe Biden is because Congressman Jim Clyburn, at the last minute, said in South Carolina, said, you know what, I'm going to support him. Didn't before, but at the end it was like, Bernie's a little too far. He shifted his support to Biden, which moved the black vote in South Carolina, which is one of the largest, if not the largest demographic and electorate within the Democratic Party. And he won that, and then that cascaded into a win. But prior to South Carolina, it looked inevitable that Comrade Bernie, who vacationed with his wife, or I think his honeymoon, in the Soviet Union, was going to become the Democratic nominee. Let's not forget that.
No, let's not forget also that this proud socialist has 3 properties, as all good socialists do. Now, Ami, after weeks of feuding between the Trump administration and Maine's Democratic Governor Janet Mills, well, the Trump administration has had enough. They are suing Maine's education department for not complying with the ban on male bodies in girls' sports. I'm going to play here a video from XXXY Athletics, which shows just in the sport of high jump, just in that one sport, an Olympic sport, the top-ranked athletes in California, in Oregon, and in Connecticut in the girls' division are all boys, all athletes that were born male. Now, you personally took to the streets to discover how the radical left thinks about this policy, and it seems like pretty much every second person in Manhattan is from the radical left. This is frightening.
You're a trans woman, you should be able to compete because in your heart you are a woman, and that's who you truly are rather than who you want to be. And I feel like it would be just, there's a word for it, not right
I think we're women, so they shouldn't be allowed to compete against women. I don't think there's like any reason that should, like, it's not like you have like some advantage or disadvantage. Yeah.
Is it maybe transphobic to say biological men or biological women?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those people are, they've been failed by the modern education system. I mean, how can they think that men don't have a physical advantage when it comes to sport?
No, they at the end of that video, I asked them, is there a physical difference between men and women? And they said no, it's all socialized. It's all social, cultural, that have made men more successful. Look, this is another 80-20 issue that they simply cannot get on the right side for. Look, they spent 4 years, more than 4 years, putting and supporting men in women's sports. They can't just change that. And the truth is, Rita, they don't want to change it. This is something they truly, truly believe in, and they're going to lay down on the tracks as the train runs over them because they have such a deep ideological belief that there's no difference between men and women. Sorry.
Oh, Ami, what a bizarre and stupid hill to die on. Ami Horowitz, thanks for your time tonight.